Hello, cat aspirants. Welcome to another episode of Bell the Cat series. Today, we will be looking at the walkways problem from CAT 2024. It's a very simple problem once you get the hang of it. So let's get started. So we have a schematic diagram of walkways, which is indicated by all the straight lines. And we have three lakes, each of them colored in color blue in a gated area. Also, we have different points marked by letters A through P with different distances being shown on the schematic diagram. Now we have some other information as well. The only entry exit point is at C. Then there are many residences within the gated area. They are located on the path AH and ML, and they are on the points also AH, M, and L, the endpoints. We have a post office at P and bank at located at point B. So first, we'll be looking the missing path. The paths IG and OK. By Pythagoras theorem, we will be able to find these directly. So ON square plus NK square would be equal to OK square, which gives us the value of OK as 500. And JI square plus GJ square would give us GI square, which gives us the value of 250. So let's mark these values on the path as well. And now we are ready to look at the problems. I'll be explaining you the approach of solving such questions. First, let's look at the problem. We have a resident at point L, which needs to visit the post office as well as the bank, the points B and P respectively. Then what is the minimum distance we have to walk from residence and return to the residence after visiting both the post office and the bank? So one general rule of thumb is, if we want to minimize the distance, we have to take the diagonal paths, the OK and IG, and if we have to maximize the distance, we have to avoid the diagonal paths, because if you walk by the direct walkways and not the diagonal paths, the straight paths, you will be able to maximize your distance. That is the general thumb rule that we are going to follow. Now, from L, how can I visit bank B? Let us assume there are no cross paths or diagonal paths in between. So I will have to take the direct path only. So either I go from L to K, K to C, C to B, or L to D, D to C, C to B, or L to J, J to B. The distance is going to remain the same. So I have to travel 200 plus 400 plus 300 plus 300, which is 1200. So 1200, at least I will have to travel minimum from L to reach the bank. Next, from bank B, I can travel from B to G, then G to I. I'll be taking the diagonal path. Then from I to P, P to O, and O to K, and then K to back to L. So if I add all these values, I will get 250. First 400 plus 250 is 650. 650 plus 400 is 1050. Then 150, 500, and 300, which is 950. So total adds up to 1200 plus 1050 plus 950, which is 3200. So the correct option is option B. Now let's look at the next question. So we have a person who enters the gated area and tries to walk as much as possible before leaving the area without walking along any path more than once and always walking next to one of the lakes. Note that he may cross a point multiple times. So how much distance will he walk within the gated area? So now we are trying to find the maximum area. So we will try to avoid the diagonal paths, and we need to only travel along the lakes, that is along these four rectangles or squares: CDEF, GFKJ, and KLMN. What would be the maximum area possible if I try to cover all these four squares or rectangles completely. So what can I do is I'm entering at C. So I'll go from C to D, D to E, then E to F, F to G, G to J, J to K, K to L, L to M, M to N, and then from N back to C. So if I take this inverted S path, right, if you see the inverted S path, and then straight from back N to C. So I am covering all the points, all the lengths, all the walkways, and I'm not covering more than once. Also, multiple points are being crossed multiple times, but that's an okay condition. So if I add all these points, I'll get option C, 3800. Next we have a resident at A who needs to start at A and return at A without going through any point more than once. And what is the maximum distance I can travel? So if I need to travel through every point once, if I'm able to travel through every point once, then that would be my maximum distance possible. But if I'm not able to travel through all the points, I'll try to leave out the points which are minimum in distance. So let's see. I can travel from A to B, B to C, or rather, let me go from A to B, B to G, G to F, F to C, C to D, D to E. So I'm covering the first rectangle full. I'm planning to return via this path, P to A, eventually towards the end. So I'm going to cover all the squares along with their perimeter. So I'll be going from A to B, B to G, G to F, F to C, C to D, D to E, then E to L, L to M, M to N. From N, I'll go to K. K2, I'll go to J. J, I come back to O. Now, I left ON in between, but that's not possible for me to cross because if I cross, then I'll be crossing the point O twice. So from O, I'll go to P, I, H, and A. So I can cover this path, but I have left ON. So is there a possibility I can leave out ON? If I can cover ON and try to look for some other path, let's see. So till N, it's fine. So we can reach N as before. Then I can go from N to O, O to K, K to J. But then I have to go to J to I. So I'll be leaving out P here. And this path, I am leaving two 400s automatically because I'm not going from N to K also. I'm going N to K. So that value is going to be less than the previous path. So I'm just going to go with the original path, which is A to B, B to G, G to F, F to C, C to D, D to E, E to L, L to M, M to N, N to K, J, O, P, I, H, and A. So if I calculate all these values, I'll get 5100 as the answer. Next we have visitors who are coming for morning walks and they enter the point C and they cannot cross any point more than once except C and they cannot travel along the residences. So I have residences along AH and ML. So I'm not going to travel through AH and ML. So if I cover rest all the points, then I'll have the maximum path. So let's see if I can cover all the points. So I'll be using again to maximize. I have my two rules. First is walk along the perimeter, and second is avoid the diagonals. So I'll be going from B to C, C to G, G to J, J to I to P, P to O, O to N, N to K, K to F, F to E, E to D, and from D to back to C. So this way I'm covering all the paths except AHML, which is I cannot go. So if I calculate all these values, I get the value as 3500. So this was all about this problem. Hope you have learned something today. For more such problems, follow us and subscribe us on this particular channel. Till then, work hard, stay focused, stay motivated, and we will see you in the next episode.